Next, we're going to have Brandon Przezinski. I apologize if I messed that up. Deputy Executive Director for the Alaska Industrial Development and Export Authority, our friends over at AIDEA, talking about the West Sioux Road, potential access for millions of acres of public land.
All right. Hey, good afternoon. I'm Brandon Przezinski. That was pretty close. I want to thank you guys for inviting us here today to talk about the West Susitna Access Project. With me, I also have Josie Wilson. She's our External Affairs Director. We're good to go. Well, while we work to get the presentation up, I'll just talk a little bit about the project, as you're all aware. This has been, talked about for, we're good to go. Oh, okay. Let's do it. Yep. All right, a little bit about AIDEA first. So our mission is to promote and develop and advance the economic growth in Alaska. Over the years, we've returned about $460 million to the state in the form of a dividend, and we've been involved in about $3.5 billion worth of investment. So the West Susitna Access Project is about a 100-mile long road starting west of Big Lake, and it'll end at the Susitna River at the base of the Alaska Range. Within this route, within a 10-mile radius of this route, there's 73,000 acres of land, and of that, 61% is either state, local, and there's like a small amount, I'm talking like 100 acres of federal land. This road's entirely on federal land. I'm sorry, this road is entirely on state land. The other ownership composition is private or native lands. So I know there's been a lot of talk or rumor that, is this road going to be public? Is this road going to be private? I'm here today to tell you this road's going to be public, 100% public access year round. So, yep, we got our instructions, so that's what the governor wants, and that's what the people want. We won't have the Mat-Su Borough on board if it's not that way. I've met with pretty much the entire Mat-Su delegation down in Juneau. They made that very loud and clear. So if we want to continue with this project, it needs to be 100% public access. That's how we are designing it and going forward with permitting. So I also want to talk about just that public access, this road, it's going to cross, it intersects the new dip net fishery that was created in 2020, the Lower Susitna personal use fishery. It's received in 2020, you saw about 10,000 anglers in this area. In 2021, there was about 620 big game animals bagged. And we recognize that with this road, you're gonna see, an increased activity of hunting and fishing. So I see Director Grasser over there. I'm going to be reaching out to you for a meeting because we want to get Fish and Game involved in this early. We're going to have some community meetings, and it would be helpful, if we could have some folks out there with us to talk about that, talk about the opportunities for hunting and fishing along the West Sioux Road. So, project benefits. So, just aside from the public access and the hunting and the fishing, there's a tremendous amount of mineral potential towards the end of the road. In fact, there's about 1,700 mining claims along the route of the study area that we did. We'll be putting out a study that's going to have this economic benefits in about, 2 weeks, Josie?
Yeah, maybe less.
Yeah, so within the area, there's 1,700 mining claims, about 45,000 acres of agriculture land, 600,000 acres of timberland. Another benefit, it's not on here, but having this road, it provides access for emergency responders for all the activity out there. If you're out there hunting, fishing, snow machining, it's pretty tough to get out there right now. So having this road would provide that benefit and wildland fire prevention as well. So, and the other one, I know we have oil and gas. So DNR actually posted a public notice a few weeks ago for exploration licenses for oil and gas, both north and south along the road. But the mining potential for the economic activity it's probably the most significant that we know of right now. And there's about 4 or 5 significant deposits, areas that are being explored right now. Any one of these, if they were developed, would create 200 to 500 direct jobs, and then more beyond that in indirect jobs. So folks that are going to be supporting all of these new jobs. and anywhere from $24 to $59 million in wages. This is just informational. I'm going to skip this one here. Oops. So current status. So we are currently underway, engaged with the Corps. We've submitted all the information that we need to begin the process to get a third-party contractor hired to start the EIS process. I have a meeting next Monday with the Corps, so I'm hoping that we'll kick that off. And in the meantime, too, AIDEA's, we're exploring other ways to help expedite the process, doing additional field work, environmental baseline studies that we could turn over to the EIS contractor to help move this along. Oops. Yeah, and here's our timeline. So right now, we're still gathering some data, but we have most of the data gathered. Then we'll go into the pre-development permitting with the hopes that we could begin construction in 2025. Now I know Commissioner Anderson's probably rolling his eyes, but we're gonna do it. So. Oops. And then I'm going to invite Josie up here to talk about our upcoming community events and how you can help and be involved. So.
I'm a little shorter than Brandon, so I'm going to move this down. And hopefully the folks online, hi, virtual folks, thanks for sticking with us. I'm Josie Wilson, and I'm our External Affairs Director at AIDEA, and I'm privileged to be here. So thank you. Thanks to Caleb and Ron for inviting us and for all of you having us. So one of the things we know is that a lot of people don't know about the project, or they have information that isn't quite accurate. How many of you, by a show of hands, have maybe heard some things that might be a little bit contradictory or different? We've got one show of hands, two. Okay, now raise your hand if everything you've heard so far has been completely accurate. Raise your hand. And raise your hand if you didn't just raise your hand right now in the room. That's everybody else, making sure you're still awake. So we want to get the word out about the project. We want truth to be out there, and we want to answer your questions. So Brandon is our project manager for this project, and so we're going to have 2 community meetings. And going around in this room right now is a sign-up sheet for what we call the Alaskans for Access Coalition. It's a coalition of people that want to make sure that opportunities are available in our state for Alaskans. So if you are interested in that coalition, please put your contact information down. If you give me your information either through Caleb or directly, I'll make sure that you're added to our project contact list and you can get updates. So I can send you this flyer, but we're gonna have 2 community meetings coming up here in a little less than 2 weeks. The first one is on March 23rd, and it's actually out in the project area off the road system. So if you are someone who would like to snow machine out there or fly out there, we'd love to have you, and you'll get to meet some folks and hear more about the project. But if you're like me, I'm probably not going to be doing any snow machining anytime soon today. For those of you online, you can't see, I'm about 8 months pregnant, so probably not going to be snow machining out there. So if you're like me, you want to be on the road system, we have a meeting on the 31st of March. It's a Friday afternoon. We will be having refreshments and some wonderful food for people to come and join us and hear about the project. But we're really excited to not only make sure people have the facts that this will be a public road, and that there are opportunities to get involved and be knowledgeable. And we do care about the environment and are doing this as stewardship respectful as possible. And we want to hear from all of you. If you have any questions about the project, we want to hear from you and make sure that you get your questions answered. And what we're really excited to share is about a study, as Brandon mentioned, that we're going to be releasing in about a week to 10 days regarding an economic study that has been done. And I think you will join me when you see these economic results. You're going to be absolutely impressed. From dip netting and fishing and hunting to jobs and opportunities and economic development, this is going to be pretty phenomenal. Don't you think, Commissioner, this will be a pretty phenomenal project? So these are 2 opportunities coming up right here in the next couple weeks. I'll make sure, Caleb, you get the flyer so you can send that out. But for those of you that are like, yeah, Josie, thanks, I don't need to go to any more meetings. I probably have enough meetings on my schedule right now. So we've got some other opportunities to just have you engage here. The first one is just showing up to these meetings is great because you can advocate. Caleb, you probably need to hit it. Let's see. right at the very end, last slide for us. And see, Commissioner, we went pretty fast so we can shave some time off for you here. Thank you. So showing up to these kind of meetings are great. We really want to hear from everyone and have you advocate for responsible development of Alaska's resources. I learned a lot in just the last hour, and I'm looking forward to learning more. We've got a couple coalitions, the Alaskans for Access Coalition, that's going around. We'd love to have you. We also want to encourage you to sign up if you're interested on the Friends of West Susitna. They have meetings and opportunities too. But I think, was it someone from Oceana who was talking about, about reading the EISs, right? Well, there's going to be an environmental impact statement on this project, and there'll be an opportunity for the scoping, for people to make comments. There'll be opportunity for the draft EIS. We want you to comment. We want you to give us your input and thoughts. At AIDEA, we want to hear from those as well, and we don't want to wait. We want to hear from you today so that we can prepare for tomorrow. So any questions about the community engagement, community meetings, or Alaskans for Access, or about advocacy opportunities within AIDEA and for this project? Go for it, Caleb. Fantastic. So an easy email to remember and write down is communications@aida.org. If you send me your information and just say, sign me up for the coalition, or I want to hear more about West Sioux, sign me up, just email communications with an S @aida.org. And AIDA, you'd be surprised at how many people pronounce our name interestingly. I like the AIDEA. I think that one's one of my favorite, but it's AIDEA.org. Any other questions? Any other questions for Brandon? Of course, Ron, right?
Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah.
Just curious, how much are you reaching out to Eddie Crasser and ADF&G as far as before these presentations? You know that the department explains the regulatory process that we have. Once an area has more access.
Right.
So are you getting all the cooperation you need out of
So I haven't reached out yet. I haven't reached out yet to ADF&G. So I've been on the job here in AIDA for about 2 months now.
Not even that.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, Josie. For about 2 months. So I came over with Randy Ruraro. Prior to that, I was in the governor's office for the last 4 years. But I fully intend to reach out to ADF&G. Maybe even get Rick Green to come up there to some of these events with us to be answer any fishing game. Yeah, cheerleader. Exactly. Yeah. So we fully intend to. Yep.
based on the data that we friends of West, we hired, they did one
Mm-hmm.
survey out in the valley. So we'd like to do that same thing again. And that would really help us with the legislature.
Absolutely.
So, so I just wanted to make sure that you guys getting that data.
Yep. Yep. Will do. Thank you.
I'll just say, Ron, too, literally on the drive over here, he was like, we got to make sure that we have a meeting. And I said, just send me the people you want me to reach out to and schedule those meetings. So literally you and Brandon said the same thing. He said it about 2 hours ago to me.
So any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Well, it's off, it was Ashire Road. So it's like more kind of southwest of Big Lake. So it's off of, we don't have the presentation up.
No, we don't have the
Yeah.
presentation up to show.
But you take KGB out
put it
there,
back up?
tie into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So Ashire Road, at the end of Ashire Road off of KGB, that's where the road will start. And it'll go 100 miles in and end at
Whiskey Bravo.
Whiskey Bravo airstrip back in there near the Squentna River, base of the Alaska Range.
And if you need a map or anything, just let us know and we'll help you get that.
Yep.
So is that whole route then, is that also following the RSP 477?
We deleted that slide,
I know.
Ron.
So Randy and I have been, we've reached out to DNR. I saw you have Jim Walker on the agenda here later, but we've been having conversations with DNR too, wanting to know where all the RS-2477s are, if there was for alternative routes or even just other potential offshoots or roads in the area. So I know it'll follow pretty close along the Iditarod Trail for a bit and the Donlin Pipeline right of way. But yeah, no, we're looking into the whole RS-2477 thing as for other options if necessary.
And I just want to clarify too, is that that's right now our what we call a preferred route. Because of the environmental process, things may change. So we don't want to get too definitive about where exactly the route and things are, because we want to be environmentally sensitive, and historically things could change slightly, but that's kind of the general preferred route. And the Corps of Engineers is the lead state agency, and so we'll be working with them and continue to provide that where the route is to you as we go along. But want to just be careful that we're not like, this is where it is, right. Because all of you know things will change.
I think we all understand that. Has the RFP for the construction already been awarded?
No RFPs for construction. There'll be a procurement process for a contractor to do the environmental impact statement. So no, we're not even near construction yet. Yeah, and finding ways to fund it. I've been having conversations with the commissioner over there about that too. So we're exploring all funding options right now.
Saw David Cruz's ugly mug in your flyer. So. I've known David for 30 years.
Well, I'm going to leave that one there. So, well, all right. Well, thank you all very much for inviting us here today, and always feel free to reach out if you have any questions. So,
can I ask a question here from Zoom?
Sure.
I was just curious. Originally, AIDEA's estimate for the cost was just under $500 million when it was still an industrial road. Right. And the recent change to make it public would increase the cost. I was curious if you guys had an estimate for that yet.
So we don't have an updated cost estimate because as the industrial road, I think it was 360 million, 350 million is what the estimate was. So yes, now with it being a public road and not a heavy haul road, it should help reduce the costs. The bridges won't need to be as robust. The road doesn't have to deviate as much for the bigger trucks on the road. So it should in theory come down in costs.
So if that's the case, will the road no longer be used for industrial stuff and only public?
So you can still have semi trucks on the road. It'll be suited for that. But the industrial trucks that were being considered were like these massive, like 6 trailer, like semi truck trains. So it wouldn't be allowed anywhere else on any of our roads here. So, but yeah, we switched in order to ensure the public has access. We went to a public road. You can still use semi trucks, but not these massive truck trains.
Thank you guys for taking my question.
You're welcome.
So unless it changed the industrial, the bridges be classified industrial at 25 ton or 50,000 tons. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we'll take into consideration too for the mining projects that are out at the end of the road. And just making sure that the road is suited for whatever their activities need be. But they weren't intending on using these multi-thousand ton vehicles. So
because we've got the commissioner from Department of Transportation and Public Facilities here, we'll say we're going to make sure it's designed to the federal highway standards, right? Isn't that how we say it? What do we call it? So we just all of these are part of the things that we're thinking of in this. That's kind of a little bit in the design phase later. We're still in the data gathering phase, so we're several years out.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.